Hello guys, my name is Aimee Iney. Aimee Iney. My previous name was Tatiana Martyshenko. Tatiana Martyshenko. My current name is Aimee Iney. So I'm making this new video because I've got some new information to share with you, which I believe to be very important. It's another middle of the night video for a reason I will explain later, but I feel calmer, I feel colder, and I feel ready to share these new things with you. Uh, so, first of all, right after I published my previous video about the people from the floor above torturing Valentina Martyshenko there. So the next day, literally, if I'm not mistaken, right after, this thing stopped. Like all this terrible noise with Valentina's voice, there was coming from there very audibly. It all stopped 100%. And literally 2 or 3 days after that, I actually saw Valentina herself, who obviously was informed or heard something about that video. And she came to this flat where I lived. My father opened the door for her. So one nice day I'm coming back home. Well, it's not home, okay? But let's use the technical term here. And I see the woman there, and she looked healthy physically, she looked healthy mentally, definitely not in any kind of dementia, definitely not insane. So she was very much in her mind, as evil as always, as terrible as she always was, you know. It's the first time I saw her face to face in more than 7 years, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, in years. So I had no idea. I saw her healthy physically as she seemed. Yeah, I'm not a doctor, but she seemed well. She seemed very much sane in her mind, very cold actually, very evil, very cold. As I remember her, yeah, she looked alright. She offered me some big sum of money. Of course, I would never take no money from her. Naturally, yeah. Yeah, I did call the police that time just to get the woman out of the apartment. But you know, the irony of this was that I was happy to see her for the first time ever, because that was new information for me, yeah? For the first time in many years, I saw her and I saw she's fine. She was fine, you know? She was fine, she was not crazy, she was capable of defending herself, she was not in any kind of trouble, yeah. And that's where I realized, okay, good. That's good to know, that's new information for me. So that's me who's in trouble, in some kind of trouble, which I knew already, but now I had to understand the exact nature of the trouble that I was in, yeah? So after she left and some days after all that noise stopped, I did some thinking, yeah? And so guys, I believe that these people who are renting this apartment right above my room here, yeah, I believe that they were actually doing this thing on purpose, and they were obviously using some kind of sound enhancing thing, you know, like some kind of sound channeling thing, you know, that's something that you can place to a wall, you can attach it to a wall, and it transmits the sound that you want to be transmitted very clearly, very loudly for the recipient who's here, yeah. And they obviously use some kind of AI technology, this artificial intelligence technology, or some kind of technological device that's voice synthesizing device, you know, to just to sound these tapes for me. I believe that those were some kind of tape recordings, with one voice that belonged, well, two voices that belonged to those guys, the man and the woman I was talking about here. The third voice, they used the exact intonations of that woman. They used her voice qualities, So they had to have some samples of her voice, because the voice was based on her, on Valentina's voice qualities, it sounded totally like her in terms of the voice characteristics, not exactly like her. After I saw her, after I heard her, her voice sounded, well, young and sane and kind of much different from what I heard, But not having seen her for like 7 years or so, it's obvious how I could be mistaken, And these people actually used Valentina's voice characteristics to synthesize all those crazy, crazy, crazy conversations I've been hearing 24/7, So as far as I understand now, they have made some kind of artificial intelligence, technological kind of thing, Some kind of crazy conversations that were designed at driving me crazy, at driving me nuts, And just making me go crazy, insane, angry, terrified in here, to affect me. And then they use some kind of sound channel and device so that I would be listening to these conversations, to those conversations here non-stop every day for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, And I was, And they would not be listening to this, So they themselves, they were not actively partaking in this physically. I mean, they would just place some tape there for me to hear, They would channel the sound so it goes here, so that it plays 24/7. I would be exposed, And they would just do their own stuff there, and they would see me affected and terrified and just going crazy. And they would be happy about this, So after I published this video, they stopped doing this 100%, totally, just cut off, no problem, stopped. But that woman I was talking about, I know her voice, I do not know her face, I think, And those men, I think it was not one man, as I understand now, there are several men who take turns there as shifts, And I recognize that same woman's voice audially, So guys, I only have audio information here, So they are taking shifts there, and they actually are there every day, every night, watching me. I know how crazy I'm sounding. Again, I know exactly what you might think, Again, I'm asking you to challenge yourself, and again, I'm reminding you that the truth is incredible, So if it sounds very nice, it might not be true, but if it sounds crazy and complicated, then it has every chance of actually being the truth, So I'm asking you again to please challenge yourself and listen to me and just try to see what I'm trying to communicate, So as I think now, these people are from maybe Russian FSB service, the Russian Federal Security Service, for those who don't know. Maybe they are from a different organization that has the same function, that's Russian government-based, that's some kind of Russian security-based, Maybe they might come from a different organization or group I might not know anything about, I don't know why exactly these people are so fixated on me, but I have, like, all this time after I made the last video, I have been hearing some of the other type of conversations that were taking place there on the floor above, or I think the sound is coming from the floor above, Some conversations from the street from one of my windows, and the sound transmission is very, very good. Yeah, I can hear that. And now, after I understood the whole thing, I can hear these two layers of conversations. Yeah, some of them which were channeled still with this loudspeaker, so I can hear because they are meant for me to hear them and to be affected by them. Yeah. And the other conversations are totally different in the sound volume, like tiny volume. I can hear them because I have very good ears, very good hearing. That's my skill, that's my talent, that's my gift, yeah. But these conversations were different in content. They were not meant for me to hear, yeah. So some conversations there I heard accidentally. For example, yesterday that woman was actually yelling there over the phone with someone, and she was saying, yeah, but I cannot pass her for crazy. Yeah, we cannot hospitalize her because she has a job. She found a job that proves she's okay, she's adequate. And guys, yeah, I have found a new job as a phone operator, you know, the girl who answers your calls and tech support, yeah. And I'm very fond of this job because it's from the house. I work right from home. Well, it's not home, but okay. So it's totally online, 100%. Nobody sees my face. Yeah. And there are thousands of people calling that line, and there are thousands of operators of tech support people who are answering these on the other end. So, the job is pretty, well, it's not complicated, but it requires good cognitive skills. Yeah, you cannot do this job unless you're a very sane, adequate, clever, bright, talented person. Yeah, it's a pretty demanding job intellectually, and yeah. And secondly, they cannot attack me in any way while I'm doing their job because they cannot even call the line themselves because they would be transmitted to other people, not to me, yeah, not necessarily to me, yeah. So there is nothing they can do. Their hands are tied. They're very unhappy about my having got the job, yeah. Also, it proves I'm not crazy because I'm fully functional, I'm fully adequate, yeah. I'm a normal, well-educated, bright, clever, amazing, beautiful, perfect person, yeah. And they cannot prove it otherwise, yeah. They are very unhappy about the job. So while I was telling you this, yeah. So yesterday, that woman there, she was literally shouting on the phone with someone like, hey, we cannot pass her for crazy because she found a job, yeah. She definitely seems adequate. There is nothing we can do. Yeah, we understand, but there is nothing we can do. We cannot put her in hospital. Like, there is no reason to. Like, she's actually normal during the days, yeah? And she was like screaming, yeah, okay. So then Russia is bad, yeah? Then there are these creatures, she used the word creatures in Russia, who are adequate, like, during the day and turn something else during the night, yeah? I cannot tell you the exact phrasing, but that was the sense, yeah, that as she said, that I was actually telling the truth, that something is happening during night times, the phenomenon I was telling you about, that I wrote about in the comments to my other videos. It's in the comments, the hypnosis phenomenon. It's difficult for me to talk about it now. I will not talk about this now because I'm trying to tell you something different now, yeah? But she was telling that, yeah, okay, we cannot do anything about it. She was telling the truth. She's adequate during the day. She's adequate. We cannot do nothing, yeah? We cannot pass her for crazy. She has a job. She's adequate. And she was like yelling. She was totally out. She totally lost it. Like, she started yelling, yeah, like, okay, so Russia is bad, so yeah, we cannot pass her for crazy, we cannot put her in hospital, there is nothing we can do, we cannot set her up, yeah, she has a job, we cannot do nothing. And she was like yelling, she was totally out of her temper. But anyway, the men who are there, they're changing, they're taking shifts, judging by their voices, yeah, and they are different men, and they actually taking shifts there, yeah. And the same thing I heard again, yeah, that they consider this a job. They call it a job, yeah. And they did say that it's their job to destroy me mentally, to destroy me physically, to destroy me socially. They're terribly scared that they call foreigners, they use the word foreigners. They're terribly scared that people from the outside world, so foreigners, are gonna get to know about what they did already and what they are doing now, about my phenomena as well, yeah. And they're terribly scared that the outsiders, the foreigners, are gonna believe me, and they're gonna see their crimes, the Russian crimes, yeah. And they say, well, either our countries, either Russia, they call it their country, Russia. They say either Russia is bad, yeah, or we need to prove that this woman like me, yeah, is crazy, a whore, a liar, etc. We need to destroy her, that nobody believes her, yeah. We need to show her for crazy. We need to pass her for a whore, for a crazy. We need to force her in a hospital, in a mental hospital, yeah. And we need to, they were saying we need to make her, pardon me, fuck. That's the words they used, yeah. I don't know how to formulate it otherwise, yeah. It's not my language, yeah. They said we need to make her have this thing with someone so we can pass her for a whore, yeah. Because otherwise we cannot prove she was being raped, yeah. Yeah. They try to make it seem as if, yeah. They try to hide those crimes, those rapes, yeah. And they want to like make me raped again, just to kind of set me up as a whore, as a crazy. They try to drive me crazy intentionally, so that they could put me in a mental hospital, for example. They could say, hey, she's schizophrenic, she has schizophrenia, she's crazy. Why would you even listen to her or think about whatever she's saying, yeah? Why would you believe a crazy schizophrenic person? Yeah, they're trying to destroy me that way. So nobody ever listens to me or believes what I'm saying, yeah? Then they could wash their hands clean. The whole of Russia, all of the Russians then could wash their hands clean of all crimes they ever did to me and other people, yeah? That's their technique. And what I'm trying to say is that they use these psychological war techniques, yeah? So the Russians, like I told you, they're very good at all kinds of criminal activity, at all kinds of crimes, but they never knew how sophisticated, how pervert, how cold, how cruel, how calculating they are in this, yeah? And that's what I'm trying to tell you now, because I believe there are multiple other victims of some very different crimes, yeah, that the Russians have committed and are committing still, yeah? That's important for you to know. So they can use the physical destruction methods, like they confirmed, they said again that they were actually trying to poison me physically when I was in Moscow. And now they cannot do this anymore, as they said, because I complained about this in my video. Yeah, I said this. So now they cannot do this physically. They use the psychological destruction influence techniques, yeah. They use the public influence techniques. They give money to people, they give gifts to people, they come and talk to officials, they come and talk to regular persons, yeah, to anybody who might have any kind of influence. They come and talk, they give presents, they give money, they offer favors, they offer help in future, they bribe people. It's their social influence thing, yeah. I know that because I witnessed a lot of that, and believe me, I saw the effects of that, unfortunately, yeah. That's a sad, sad topic. They use all kinds of social influence techniques, yeah, and they use social destruction techniques. For example, I am dangerous to them. They're trying to destruct me, to destroy me socially, so nobody will ever believe me. They try to set me up for a whore, for a crazy. They were saying we need to set her up for crazy. We need to drive her crazy, actually. Yeah, we need to set her up for crazy. So that we need to show the world she's like schizophrenic, whore, she's a liar, blah, blah, she's an actress, blah, blah. And she's not doing this, she's not showing this, we cannot make her. Yeah, and they are crazy about it themselves. Like, how do we do this? And They use all kinds of social influence techniques, like I told you, but the most dangerous thing they use, in my opinion, beside physical poisoning, and beside, well, social destruction thing, which is very, very dangerous, these public opinion campaigns that they do, covert and obvious ones, that is dangerous too, but the most dangerous thing is this psychiatric warfare, and of course that's a familiar fact that people, organizations, countries that are at war, have always historically used, these psychological destruction, psychological weapon techniques, That's, for people who don't know, that's when they try to affect you psychologically, they try to affect your mind, they target your head, they target your brain, they target your mental vulnerabilities, your psychological vulnerabilities, fears, worries, they try to attack your brain. And then it's very easy to destroy your body. It's twice as easier. It's 99% is easier, to destroy you once they destroy you psychologically or attack you psychologically, and that's what they're trying to do here. So first they were playing that tape with this Valentina voice thing, and it was very believable. Guys, understand me, it was 100% believable, considering I did not see a woman face to face. I did not actually see the actual situation for many, many years, I could recognize the same voice characteristics, the same voice qualities, and it was so believable. Guys, it was absolutely believable, They almost drove me crazy. I had that moment when I was standing and I was thinking, my God, I do not want to go crazy. Just don't let me go nuts, please. Like, my head is important to me. Don't let me go crazy, I almost died physically from them so many times, But now they are simply watching me there, and they made some more techniques they use, They still use this sound channeling thing, but for other things now, So they say some stuff they want me to hear, they want to feed this stuff to me, so that to make me react in some way that would be useful to them, for them to be able to pass me for crazy, for horror, for something, They really want to lose this job that I have now because it's not good for them. They cannot use it against me in any way. It's speaking in my favor. They really are unhappy about my having that job, And they are very unhappy that they cannot, pass me for crazy. And so, guys, of course, they are using my nightly phenomenon that I talked about in my comments to my previous videos, but they cannot use it 100% right now because I'm actually giving my house keys to my papa, so he has my keys every night before I go to sleep. I take the apartment keys, I hand them over to him, and he keeps them for the night. I do not know where they are. I ask him to hide them in different places, so I have no idea. In his room, locked away from me, And the doors in this apartment are locked with the key, and they are also opened with the key. So there is no way I would be able to get out of the apartment at night if someone commanded, ordered me, or forced me, This really saves me. Like, this saves my life, because these people there cannot rape me anymore. They cannot beat me anymore. They cannot torture me physically anymore, Otherwise, they would just give that order to me when I would be sleeping. And my body would come out of this apartment and follow their orders and allow them to do all kinds of things. I would have no memory of this. I would have no self-protection, no perception of this. I would have no agency, no choice, nothing I would be able to do. I would not know anything. I would be like a rubber doll, like an object. And that's how they were raping me, they were torturing me, they were beating me on the head, on my knees, on all of my body. They were raping me in all forms and gang raping. And I do not want to tell you about all the things that were done to me. Yes, I am very quiet now. I found meaning in communicating this information to you, so that normal people from the outside world who are innocent of those crimes would know about what the Russians did against me, to me, and what later on some of the foreign people in Brazil, in France, especially in French Guiana, France, yeah, they did it to me using the same method that the Russians gave them, yeah, that the Russians caused, yeah. And those were terrible things. Okay, I do not want to get distracted now. I will come back to this question later, maybe, yeah. But right now, I want to tell that right now they are unable to do this to me because it's my father who has the keys. I do not know where they are. I would not be able to find them in any state of mind. So they cannot force me to come out of the apartment. They cannot rape me because during the day I'm conscious. During the day I'm in my healthy head, in my mind. Yeah, I'm adequate. There is nothing they can do. Yeah, during the night, my papa has the keys. So I am locked inside of my apartment and I'm safe in that sense. So they cannot rape me or kill me or torture me physically at this period. Neither can they set me up physically, and they are very unhappy about this, yeah, because they say, hey, we cannot even rape her, we cannot pass her for a whore, yeah. Hey, yeah, that's the thing. Temporary protection that I got thanks to Papa, yeah, who is having my keys. And they were actually saying that if it goes on like this, we are gonna poison the old guy. They use this thing. One of the men said, yeah, like, hey, if that goes on, we'll poison the guy because of the keys, yeah, because we need to get her out of the apartment at night. So we need to be raping her and showing her, yeah, and doing things to her. They threatened to poison my pa because of this. Am I scared? As hell, yeah. I want to run and scream, yeah. But that's the thing. And, sorry. I'm trying to say that, okay, in the absence of better possibilities, they now use different techniques against me. They tried to use this driving crazy technique through Valentina, which is very believable. It was almost effective, yeah, because I almost cracked psychological and physically because of that thing. I even called the police, yeah, then, and it was very easy to set me up and to just tie the hands, send me to a rubber room, you know, and just not ever let me out. And they were saying that's what they wanted to do. They say that we need to find some way to drive her crazy, or to pass her for crazy, for a whore, for a schizophrenic. We need to show her making sex with someone, pardon me, yeah? So someone raping her, yeah? So we can prove she's a whore, she was not raped. That's what they were saying, I'm quoting. And in Russian, of course, yeah, they were saying this in Russian. And they were saying we need to pass her for crazy to show that she was schizophrenic, so nobody ever believes that our country is bad. So nobody ever believes Russia is terrible and committed those crimes. It's her or the country. It's her, it's this girl, or it's Russia, either or, yeah? So either the Russians are criminals, either we are criminals, yeah? Or, as they are saying, yeah? Or we need to show her as a crazy whore and a liar and a schizophrenic and whatnot, yeah, and we tie her up in some rubber room and not let her out, yeah. And they say that we are gonna, oh my god, I woke Pa up, so I hope he doesn't call anybody, yeah, because of course he's hearing all that, and he's suspicious, he doesn't know what's going on here, so I'm not in a good spot either way, yeah, and it's very distracting when I'm afraid for my life, for my health, for my situation. I'm scared, yeah, but I could not wait the night. I'm making this video in the night again. I could not wait. I will explain later. So, they said we need to drive her crazy with anything. We need to provoke her in any way, with anything, so that she calls some people for her help again, and that would seem crazy, that would seem inadequate, and we'll pass her for crazy, we'll set her up for this, and then we'll lock her up, yeah? We need to provoke her to lose this job, because we're not happy with that job. It shows that she's adequate, she's good, and we cannot do nothing. It's not good for us, yeah. So we need to provoke her for this psychologically, yeah. And they also said that at night, guys, at night I'm sleeping, so I'm trying to sleep in my room here and now, and they're using the same sound channel and device. And you know, I'm having that nightmare, some terrible nightmare, you know, some horror movie kind of thing, some superstitious horror kind of thing, and my God, like ghosts, graves, like some old people, children, something, you know, horror movie kind of thing, you know, the Sixth Sense kind of thing, you know, like people hanging, blah blah, yeah, like a nightmare, a typical nightmare you would have, yeah. And I wake up, my head trembling, yeah, my heart trembling, yeah, like, oh my God, what nightmare. And then I realized the night I see a different nightmare, then a different nightmare. And today, yeah, I woke up in the middle of the night from that similar or same nightmare. They're all similar or same, yeah. And I understood why I am having those nightmares. Like those same people, they use this some kind of technological device that's sound enhancing. So the noise does not pass to neighbors or to other people, but it passes only to my room, only to me, only, well, it's channeled to reach me and not somebody else. I do not know how it's done, don't ask me, but technology makes all things possible, I guess, yeah? And so I'm waking up from this nightmare, and I hear these people talking very faintly, in a very different volume, at a very different volume of loudness, yeah, different volume. So that conversation was not meant for me to hear. I only heard it because my hearing is extremely good. I'm very talented at that. And they were saying, okay, so now we need to do something. We can still do something, yeah, but we need to provoke her again, for set her up as crazy, provoke her to call other people for help, blah blah, to involve somebody else, so somebody else would see, hey, she's crazy. We need to provoke her to lose the job, all the kind of things, and just set her up for hope, for crazy, whatever, yeah. So nobody ever believes her, because her previous videos made the foreigners sympathetic to her and suspicious about us, yeah. So now we cannot attack her directly anymore, yeah. We cannot make it traceable to us. That's what they said, yeah. They said we cannot make it traceable back to us, but we need to do something just behind the scenes so that she would not understand what's happening, like, yeah, and we would provoke her, we would force her, you know, do something stupid and set herself up, yeah. And they said, and so guys, I understood that. They said, we're gonna just use the man who was there, he was commanding, he was explaining this thing to the woman. He said, okay, so you wait till she goes to sleep, yeah, at night, you use this thing, yeah, and you channel the sound and just whisper or say some key words, you know, some kind of like you are joking, you know, make it like you are joking, just act it out, yeah, say some key words that seem to affect her. He said she's reacting when she's sleeping, yeah, when she's unconscious, she's reacting to some words. He was talking about me, yeah, like I'm reacting to some words, some concepts, some ideas that cause some kind of subconscious fear in me, yeah, or some kind of discomfort, yeah. I understand why, yeah. I also have my triggers like everybody else, I guess, some things that might make me scared more easily, or that might make me uncomfortable, or evoke some terrible memories or some very bad associations for some reason. Every person has these things, yeah, so I do too. And they notice some things that I obviously seem to react to when I'm unconscious, I'm sleeping, yeah. And the man told the woman, okay, just whisper these things, or like in this loudspeaker, or like act something out on these topics, yeah. Like 1, 2, 3, he listed these topics, yeah. I will not tell you guys what makes me afraid, yeah. And he said, well, just use these words, use these ideas, yeah, and do it in some acting kind of theatrical kind of voice. So she reacts when she's sleeping, so she sees these nightmares, and then she wakes up, she has all this superstitious fear, yeah, And guys, if you know anything about crime stories, detective stories, yeah, that's a technique that's used very often, yeah, sometimes for criminals, for people who are suspected of committing murders, sometimes in some military kind of contexts, yeah. In wars sometimes, yeah. In the Vietnam War, similar techniques were used, yeah. Inspiring superstitious fear in people who are not maybe as well in position to understand what's going on, and you make them afraid, you make them scared, you affect them subconsciously, yeah. They crack, and then it's very much easier to provoke them for some stupid actions, or to provoke them for some stupid conclusions, to attack them physically. After that, it's very much easier. So that's a familiar technique, inspiring fear, inspiring anger, inspiring all kinds of negative reactions in other person, self-doubting, distracting them from necessary things, the wrong moments, yeah. So inspiring this superstitious kind of fear, I call it, yeah. That's another technique to use when you want to destroy a person, yeah. Gaslighting is a kind of parallel thing. It's one of these techniques as well, yeah. If you know anything about gaslighting, you understand what I mean, yeah. If you don't, go to Google, just Google gaslighting techniques, yeah, like gaslighting techniques, yeah. It's one of these techniques too, yeah. So there are all kinds of techniques now to attack your brain and then destroy you physically, yeah. So that's what they were trying to do, yeah. They were trying to gaslight me as one thing. So I go crazy, like, what kind of thing is real, yeah? What's going on? Am I really crazy, yeah? They were trying to do that. And also they were trying to, right now, inspire this paranormal, superstitious fear in me, yeah? So every night I see those nightmares, but they did not want me to understand that they were doing this physically, yeah? So guys, anything that happens, if it happens in reality, if you experience this, it's not about you. It's not your brain. It's not just you. It's nothing paranormal, most likely, yeah? It's two-legged criminals like those rats there, you know, that cause it, yeah? If you experience something that is hurting you, that you cannot explain, so maybe you should not get scared, you should not believe this thing, yeah? You should not get gaslighted, yeah, whatever it is, yeah? You should know that someone is doing this to you on purpose, trying to provoke you for something, or to set you up, or to destroy you physically, psychologically. Somebody has the intention to destroy you, yeah? And these people like this, yeah, they are very calculating, they are very cold. They know exactly what they are doing. They do not care for human life, yeah? They want to destroy the victim of their crimes. They say they are doing it for Russia. They say that they are doing it for their country. Never mind, yeah. It has never been my country. It has never been my country. Russia is the hell of criminals and crimes. And it's guilty. It's guilty. It will never wash its crimes away. And the Russians, none of them will never wash their crimes away. Neither of those. They're criminals. They go to hell. Whatever happens, they go to hell. But guys, so what I'm trying to say here, yeah, is that they use these psychological techniques. They know what they're doing. They use some technological equipment, some artificial intelligence things, yeah. Maybe something with the computer, yeah. Maybe something channeling the sound. So they know how to, you know, set something to your wall or to your ceiling so you can hear this, yeah. And you can believe this, yeah. And it's one thing they're doing it during the day. It's a different thing they're doing it at night when you're sleeping, yeah. Or you see some nightmares, it affects your brain, you wake up, you are all disturbed, yeah. And it's them who's doing this, yeah. So now I woke up in the middle of the night from these other nightmares. So another nightmare every night, same thing, yeah. And as then it's not me who's like seeing these nightmares just out of the blue, yeah. It's them who are, you know, channeling, saying, whispering, crying some words, some key phrases there, like some mock voices, you know, and they make me see these terrible things in my sleeping, yeah, and wake up all disturbed. But the conversation I heard after I woke up was what inspired me to do this video, yeah? So they said, okay, let's be cold here. We will pass her for crazy. We will pass her. Because foreigners believed her, they are sympathetic, they want to help her, they worry, they are suspicious of Russia. And it's our job to show that Russia's good and she's bad, you know, and she's crazy, schizophrenic whore. And for that, we need to lock her up. We need to rid her of the job. We need to make her call the police again or say something crazy. We need to make her do this, this, and that, yeah? And that's what we are going to do. It was their new idea, yeah? They said, we're going to do this, yeah? And they hired that woman. She's obviously paid, yeah? This man there, they are paid. They take shifts there. They watch her. They said it was their job. They said they have the right to entertain themselves as part of the job. Because they are forced to take shifts there, they are watching me, and they actually are watching me. Again, truth is incredible. You can choose not to believe it, but I challenge you to believe this, yeah? Because it's the Russian FSB, or if it's different service of the Russian government, or some kind of different service yet. I do not know why these people are fixated on destroying me, but their point is me versus Russia, Russia versus me. We need to destroy her for what she said about our country, so nobody ever believes what she was telling. So we need to distract attention from what she told about in her videos, in her comments, because people are suspicious outside, you know, foreigners are suspicious, yeah? And, you know, the best thing they said, it was the best thing, guys. Like, listen, please, please, please listen. I want to tell you this, yeah? And they were saying, yeah, right now, this night, it was all, oh my God, it was all this night, yeah? And they were saying, so, and after we force her into the rubber room, you know, after we lock her up in a nut house, yeah, we will provoke her. It's not a question how, we will provoke her. We will set her up for crazy. We will set her up for a whore. We need to make her fuck with someone, because otherwise we cannot explain the rapes away, yeah? We need to make her show herself up as crazy, lose the job, so we can set her up for crazy, so we can put her in a nut house. We can say, hey, she's schizophrenic, she's a whore, she's a liar, she's an actress. Who were you believing? What kind of things was a schizophrenic whore saying, yeah? Who would believe that? And then they would say, then we would show her on Russian TV, then we would show her on Russian TV, and we would say, let's look at that girl's history, yeah? How did she become a whore? How did she become schizophrenic? And then we will say it's the US that did it, because she was studying in the US, she was living abroad, she was living in the West, they call it West, yeah? They use this term West a lot. And they say we will show her on the Russian TV when she's in a nut house, finally, when we make it. And then we show her on the TV and we say, hey, let's look at her history. It's not Russia that made her that. They want to say it's the US that made me, oh goodness, whore and crazy and whatnot, yeah. People, I mean, that is incredible. That is incredible. That is so crazy. That is so crazy. That's when I thought, I'm taking this phone, I'm making this video now because I want to communicate this, guys. It's Russians who made, well, I'm not crazy, yeah? I'm not crazy, I'm not a whore. I've never been a whore, I've never been crazy, yeah? But it's the Russians that raped me. It's the Russians that developed the phenomenon that I was telling you about, this nightly phenomenon, yeah? Where I'm unable to protect myself and where I have no, like, I might tell you about this later, yeah? But not now. And it's the Russians that did it. It's the Russians that did this hypnosis thing to my brain, yeah, that affected me. And it's the Russians that were raping me all those years, starting from when I was a kid, yeah? And it's the Russians who did these terrible things to me when I was a 3-year-old child, 5-year-old child. I did not know when exactly that started, before my first memories. And my whole life after that, it was the Russian program, it was the Russian government, it was the Russians that did it. It was the Russians that were raping me all those years. It was the Russians that were torturing and abusing me all those years. It was the Russians that went after me when I was the refugee, when I was trying to apply for refugee abroad, yeah? They went after me, these FSB people or whoever they are, yeah? They were paid money to go after me, and they knew what they were doing. They used the same techniques. They were very cold, very calculating. I believe that they made the people in Brazil and France believe the lies that they were saying, yeah? Like they made me believe that Valentina thing above, yeah? They can make people believe anything. And they went and brainwashed people and lied to people and gave money to people, yeah? And they give money to criminals as well. And they brainwashed criminals as well, yeah? And they made the whole thing with forced returning me back to Russia, yeah? They orchestrated this thing, yeah? They could not leave me in a safe country, in a safe situation. They did everything to destroy me then, yeah? Ever after I spoke up against Russia, my life was never the same, yeah? Every moment was terror, every moment was horror, because these people made their crimes, they went after me. And they are not leaving me alone. I'm on the watch 24/7. They are watching me, they're taking shifts there, they're being paid for this, yeah? They invested some manpower and money to drive me out of the foreign countries, to drive me out of anybody's scope of faith, yeah? So nobody listens to me again. They did everything to destroy me physically, mentally, socially, on all levels. They manipulated other people, they manipulated criminals, they manipulated me. They forced me into this situation back to Russia. It was all orchestrated by the Russians. Everything was orchestrated by the Russians from the start, yeah? They used all of their techniques of social influence, public campaigns, money, bribes, psychological warfare, gaslighting, all these things, yeah? Physical destruction, physical rapes, yeah? Physical scare to life, threats to life. They used all of these techniques against me, and they used all of these techniques and they were campaigning against me when I was abroad. And of course, they forced me back into Russia. Like they would force a mouse in a laboratory, you know, to run into the necessary corridor, you know, like in these lab experiments where they have that mouse and, you know, they do these things to make you do what they want you to do, yeah, to make you run where they want you to run. Like I'm that lab mouse, you know, they made me, they forced me back into this terror of Russia. And there I am in their hell. And there they are, like watching me 24/7 and trying to bring me to a situation where I'm locked up and not dangerous to them anymore, because now they still see me as dangerous. And they actually said she gave them information. They said that through her videos, yeah, even though she was misunderstanding some of the things, she gave them information. And that's when I also thought, okay, I'm making this video now because I want to give more information. I'm happy if I managed to, yeah. I want to give you guys as much information as I can that can be useful for you in understanding what they are, what these Russian criminals are, yeah? And what Russia is, what the hell of Russia is. I want you to understand that, to know this information, yeah? And so they were saying these things about the West. And guys, if you see the Russian TV, you know, like, unfortunately, my papa is believing these Russian government things and he's watching Russian TV sometimes, yeah? And that's how I was exposed to listening to some Russian government channels periodically during this month, you know? And man, guys, sometimes I just go by Pop's room, I hear the TV on there, like these government channels, you know, and I stop and listen and I say, wow, and I just start roaring with laughter, like, wow, yeah, can you say that again, please? Yeah, just for the record, once again. Guys, like Russian TV, yeah, they say all kinds of things about the West. They call it the West. They use the term the West now. The Western countries, the West. They talk a lot about the United States with all kinds of hate. They talk a lot about Western countries, European Western countries with all kinds of hate, you know. Here in Russia, they hate Israel. They hate the US. They hate all Western European countries. They say they love Iran, they love China, and they love North Korea. Those are their favorite guys, yeah. Well, Hungary too, yeah. Some other places, yeah. Some places in Africa, yeah. Okay, so they have their things, yeah. Guys, I've been having a great time, when I was listening to some Russian TV channel, Russian TV program. And the official speaker there, the journalist, well, I will not use the term journalist, sorry, yeah. I have respect for journalists, it's my thing. It triggers me, yeah, when you use this word for wrong people. So the someone in the Russian TV, the speaker in the Russian TV, they were making a program, and they were saying, they were talking about Iran, and they were saying, hey, women in Iran, they dress with such modesty, and evil Western designers are coming to ruin the modesty of women in Iran. They're trying to make them take their hijabs off, that's terrible. Iran's modesty, Iran's freedom of speech. The West is interfering with Iran's freedom of speech, with Iran's human rights. The West is trying to destroy the rights of women in Iran. The West is trying to seduce the women in Iran out of their hijabs. That's terrible. Like, look at those women, how modest they are. Blah blah blah. Guys, I cannot give you the exact quote. Yeah, but I was listening like 5 or 10 minutes, and I was like, Whoa. Can I hear this again? Like, that was terrible. It's not a matter to laugh over. I realize it's not a thing to laugh about, yeah? But it was something crazy, what's happening to women in Iran, yeah? Where they kill women, they torture women, they torture men over this hijab thing, What kind of rights are they talking about? Yeah, and that sounded from the official Russian TV. They were talking about the evil West, quote, yeah, trying to interfere with Iran's, rights for women and their modesty and their religion. That was that was such propaganda, such lies, guys. I had my mouth open, yeah. They talk a lot about the US with all kinds of hate on Russian TV, yeah. Sometimes I would stop and listen. I would say, wow, oh God, like, these people are, like, Russians are nuts. The Russians went crazy, and they believe they set themselves up because it's very obvious to the outside world. Russia is crazy. Russians are insane. They are criminals, but they're also insane. They are inadequate. Like, they talk a lot about, they have this propaganda, state propaganda, where on every Russian channel, yeah, every day, the Russian news, they would talk about the evil United States, the evil Europe, the evil NATO, everybody setting up against Russia, everybody going after Russia and lying, everybody so evil and terrible, yeah? And Russia so sane and beautiful, And they would talk so nice about North Korea, about Iran, about all countries where there are no human rights, no truth, and a lot of propaganda. That's where they shake hands. And I've heard lots of different things that made me just, laugh in some terrified way, yeah? But that's what these people were saying. They were saying this, they were applying this to me now, yeah? They said she shared information with them that might be useful to them. So, and foreigners sympathized with her. They were worried about what was actually going on, and they were suspicious about Russia. And I was hearing this note saying, yeah, please, yes, that's what I want. And they were saying, so now we need to set her up for crazy. We need to destroy her utterly to the bottom, yeah? But we cannot make it traceable back to us, so we cannot make it so she can complain about us anymore, because we are already in the suspicious spot, So we need to affect her, like, subconsciously or behind the lines, to gaslight her when she wouldn't be able to understand what's going on in reality, and she would set herself up, and she would call other people, she would pass herself for crazy. We'll make you fuck someone. Pardon my word, yeah? They were saying something like that in Russian, so we can set her up for a whore, because otherwise we cannot explain the rapes away, we cannot explain the tortures away, we cannot explain their own crimes. They cannot explain their own crimes away right now. Because I'm fully adequate, I'm clever, I'm brilliant, I'm beautiful. I love my husband. One man in my life, yeah? I've never been a whore, I've never been crazy. They did terrible things to me. There are evidences of this. Yeah, there are people who know this. There are videos that people made, that criminals made of their own crimes, yeah, that they made, that some foreign criminals made, yeah. And it's provable that what was done to me is provable. Fortunately, I did not see these videos. I only heard about what was happening. Yeah, I heard the accounts. I know how they were doing this to an extent. I am not ready to know more than I do know now. I know enough, I think. It's way too hard, yeah. And I'm willing to share what I know so that other people don't suffer from these Russians, from their crimes, from what they do to people. And because I want justice, I want truth, and I want the justice, and I want information, like any journalist in the world who can call themselves a journalist, like every honest person in the world who can call themselves an honest and intelligent person. I want the honest, factual, truthful information to be out there in public, that anybody can reach, access, and know, yeah? I do not want the lies by the Russians, or the theater acting by the Russians, or these orchestration campaigns, public opinion orchestration campaigns, social influence campaigns by the Russians to cover the crimes that the Russians did to me and to other victims, you know? And I want to sound the truth. And they were saying, we'll set her up, we'll destroy her, and then we'll say, hey, she was studying in the US, so it's the Western countries, it's the United States, it's the evil West that did this to her, that made her a whore, crazy, schizophrenic, and speak up against Russia. And we'll show her on the Russian TV, and we'll speak against the evil West and the evil United States. That was a quote, guys, of course. That was a quote by these people there, by this Russian FSB service, yeah? And we'll use her for our campaign. And nobody will ever believe her again, plus she'll be useful to us in that. So, guys, I love the United States. I love Israel. I love Ukraine. That's a statement, yeah? The crimes that were done to me were caused by the Russians, implemented by the Russians, orchestrated by the Russians, planned and ordered for and paid for by the Russians. From the start, when I was a tiny child, when I was an innocent kid, and these terrible things, the worst things that can happen to anybody were done to me, until this moment now, and you do not imagine the degree, the nature, and the extent of those crimes. I'm asking you here to consider these, please. I'm asking you to consider the psychological destruction techniques, the gaslighting, the manipulation techniques that the Russians are using very coldly, in a very calculating way. The physical destruction techniques, because nothing will make their hands dirtier than they already are, yeah? Nothing will make the Russians' hands, the hands of these FSB people, whoever they are, yeah, on all of the Russians' hands for that matter, any dirtier than they already are, because they cannot get any dirtier. Like, I'm telling myself, these people don't exist because of how evil they are. They cannot be called people or humans or anything. They're not human. They're just some evil, inanimate matter to me, you know, just some evil devil kind of thing, you know. They're not humans. They're not people. But they are very cold and very calculating, and they can use all kinds of the most pervert, sophisticated, calculated, very cold, very well thought, very well organized, paid for generously techniques of psychological destruction, of physical destruction, like poisoning you physically. That's nonsense. That's very easy for them to do, yeah? The psychological techniques, yeah. The social techniques, the public influence campaigns, they use a combination of these methods, yeah? Trying to manipulate the victim, trying to manipulate those who are listening and looking, yeah? And trying to achieve the result that's good for them, yeah? So now they formulated the question as, it's either me or Russia. And that's a good formulation. That's a good formula, I think, because it's really either me or Russia. It's either or, yeah? And these people are criminals. Russia is criminal, and the Russians are criminals. All of them and any of them. Of course, yeah, there are, like I told you, there might be like 5 or 6 people who might be the exception, yeah, who might not be bad people after all, yeah. But 99.9999% of Russians are criminals, yeah. Some of them worse than others, some of them terribler than others, yeah? The vast majority of Russia are cold, calculating, evil, terrible, non-human criminals. Worse than anything you can imagine, yeah? And Russia is hell. I never belonged to this place. I accuse Russia and the Russians of the crimes they did against me. Oh my God, goodness. And like I said, I love the United States, I love Israel, I love the Ukraine. And I'm standing for the truth, and I'm standing for the information. And first and foremost, I want to share this information with all and any normal, intelligent people in any countries of the world outside the hell of Russia. Those who are listening to me, I want you to know, guys, about the things they can do, the Russians are capable of doing, the techniques they use against you, yeah, not just against me. And importantly, I do want you to know about this phenomena that they caused me, yeah, where every day I'm adequate, I'm clever, I'm good, and every night there is a terrible thing that happens after I go to sleep, yeah. I wrote about this in my comments. I am unable to speak about it, see my face in the camera, yeah. I'm unable to think about it like that. I wrote about this in my comments, yeah, this retrograde, I call it retrograde hypnosis thing, yeah, that they did to me when I was a tiny kid, and that destroyed my whole life until now, that enabled the Russians and some Russian and foreign criminals to torture me, to human traffic me, to beat me physically, to torture me physically, to rape me in all kinds of ways, to gang rape me, to do all kinds of things to me, yeah, because they could do anything, because I was made an object every night when I would go to sleep, and I would not be able not to sleep, yeah, you would sleep anyway. And I'm unable to think or speak of it. I'm sorry, I'm not able to discuss it like that, seeing my face, I not want to, yeah. Read it in my comments, and in the comment to this video I'll copy it again. Thank you guys, good night.